Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. I want to start off by saying I think I'm going to give some advice to President Trump. Now, I only have a small channel, so the odds of him seeing this are zero. But I want to make the point to other people that are Trump supporters. Enough is enough. Enough of this farce trials. The farce trial currently it's amazing to me. He paid hush money, his attorney did, and now they're saying he claimed it as a legal fee. But that's not the big deal. That's a misdemeanor at worst. But what he did was he used that to cover up another crime, which makes it a felony. And that crime, we haven't disclosed it yet. Are they even going to say what it is during the trial? Because the real reason the crime he supposedly covered up was the fact that he kept the public, or a lot of it from the public, in 2016 when he supposedly had an affair with a porn star, and thus the hush money and all the other things involved were to make him look better in the polls and to the American people in election year so they wouldn't find out about it. I guess Hunter Biden's laptop doesn't count, but they wouldn't find about the fact that he's been at least accused of having an affair with a porn star. And by hiding it, it's election fraud. That's the underlying crime that they haven't said yet. Now, I'm past the 50-second mark, so I can talk plain English here. You have to be fucking kidding me, right? You have to be. I think President Trump used to say, you know what? Enough is enough. I am so tired of this two-tier justice system. This is a kangaroo court. I can never get a fair trial in Manhattan. Ever. You know, it's funny. Democrats out there are progressives. If this was a black defendant and it was an all-white jury, say it was a black female defendant and it was an all-white male jury, they'd be raising holy hell. And rightfully so, I might add. But for some reason, if it's Donald Trump, the legal rules don't apply. They ignore the law. So finally, President Trump, I think he should just say, you know what? F it. This is a farce. The trial that I allegedly cheated the value of my properties is BS too, or I'm going to come right out and say it, bullshit, and everybody says so. This is a farce as well. It's a lie. It's duct taped together with a wish and a prayer. Talk about laws. Let's talk about laws they're ignoring now. They won't go into the fact that the old Attorney General Eric Holder under Barack Obama got several subpoenas to go before Congress, and he said, F you, I'm not showing up, and nothing happened. But look at poor Navarro, the old assistant and aide for Trump, said, listen, I'm looking for executive privilege, and when that gets waived, I'll testify. And then when it did, he says, okay, I'm ready to testify. And they said, no, he's going to spend 4 months in prison. 4 months at his age. So it's okay if they ignore the law. I'll give you an example. There's a New York state law that has about recusing yourself as a judge if there's a conflict of interest. I believe they call it 6 degrees. The first degree, of course, is direct gain monetarily by yourself or any of your children or your spouse. This judge's daughter, they reported, has made over $15 million from Democrats doing social media ads. Now, that's legitimate. She gets a percent of the contributions that are brought in from the ads she writes. Have zero problem with that legally. I think they're foolish to give money to Democrats, but that's a different issue, and it's not against the law. Not against the law to be wrong, or if we wouldn't have anybody walking around, they'd all be in jail. But he did not recuse himself. $15 million. Under New York state law, he has to. But he didn't. I'll just ignore the law. It doesn't makes it harder for me, so I'm just going to ignore it. And they do that over and over and over and over and over. But laws only apply to people we don't like. What is that, their truth instead of the law? Donald Trump has to be stopped by any means necessary. And as for us to break the law or ignore the law, that's a small price to pay. When you have a two-tiered system, as progressives and Democrats have been saying for years, that hurts the country. A two-tier justice system isn't what they fight about. Nope. It's only a two-tier justice system for people we believe are being screwed over. Doesn't count for people we don't like being screwed over because we're in charge and we said so. Donald Trump should just say, F you. On April 25th, I'm flying to D.C. to go for the Supreme Court hearing concerning presidential immunity. Probably one of the biggest cases of the Supreme Court in my lifetime, and I'm 67, besides the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Might be even more important than that, but it's very important nonetheless. When can you prosecute a president for things you think are unlawful while that individual is president? My understanding is this. You can't, for anything done while he or she is president. The criminal DAs in this case in New York cannot bring criminal charges while you're president. The procedure is you go before the Congress, you're impeached, and then it goes to the Senate for trial. In other words, the House of Representatives is basically the grand jury, and you're indicted, and then you go to the Senate for trial. He did that twice under multiple charges, was found innocent. They say, well, you know, he can shoot somebody while he's president and kill him. No, he can't. No, he can't. He's impeached immediately, then brought to trial and found guilty. And then you go to criminal court. That's been the procedure for as long as this republic has been in existence. President Trump should just say, F it. I'm going to D.C. anyway on April 25th to hear this case about presidential immunity. One of the biggest cases in the history of the country, especially for the executive. This is important, more important than your bullshit in this kangaroo court. And if you want to put me in jail, I dare you. Now, what will the Secret Service do? I hope there's enough Secret Service agents that are loyal to the Constitution. They took an oath, like the oath I took when I was sworn in as a city councilman in upstate New York in the early 2000s. The oath is the same. Uphold the Constitution. This is illegal. And no one's stopping them. It's pretty much like the Democrats are the people that rush into a department store and loot the place, fill up bags, and while they're doing that, the Republicans are standing there with their cell phones taking pictures and doing video and saying, boy, you know, somebody ought to do something about this. That's exactly what's going on. So you got, I don't give a crap about the law Democrats. And you got the spineless Republicans. Just let them get away with it. This is like the old Soviet show trials. It's ridiculous. President Trump called their bluff. The Secret Service, I hope and pray, will say, no, we're not doing that. You're not going to take a president and put him in jail. It's not going to happen. The next president, put him in jail. It's not going to happen. Go pound salt. But we'll see what happens. I'm sure President Trump's instinct is, you know what, F you, I'm going anyway. You have the balls enough to place me under arrest? Go for it. That's my opinion on what he should do. It's called crossing the Rubicon. That's from the old Roman times when Julius Caesar's army crossed the Rubicon, which was an unwritten rule that you not bring your army to Rome. It'd be like bringing an army to the Capitol now. It's just you just didn't do it, but he did it anyway. And once you cross the Rubicon, there's no going back. There's no going back here either. Enough is enough. It's diverting tens of millions of dollars from his campaign to pay for legal fees, and more importantly, it's diverting a ton of his time so he can't campaign like any other candidate should. I don't understand how Biden's numbers are even as high as they are. And don't tell me that it's a separate thing, you know. These DAs in Georgia and the 2 cases in New York and elsewhere have nothing to do with the fact that they're helping Biden. Bullshit. It's all with the DOJ's and President Biden's approval. If they said no, this wouldn't be going on. Enough is enough. Now, Letitia James said the bond company isn't good enough for the bond company that he had for the ridiculous $175 million bond, which was over $400 million originally, on a civil case. A civil case. It boggles the mind that there's not huge protests all over the country over this. Maybe it's because conservative people and Trump supporters just aren't the type to go out and protest in huge numbers. Maybe that's a progressive thing. I don't know. But President Trump, of that 1,000,000 shot that you see or hear about this video, tell him to fuck off. I'm not doing this anymore. This whole thing is a farce. This whole thing is a joke, and I refuse to participate. And I'm sure your gut is telling you that. And believe me, in 2016, you went with your gut, and you won. If anything at all, the whole country should be happy and thankful to President Trump for stopping Hillary Clinton from being president of the United States. What would you do under the circumstances? Would you risk going to jail and putting the Secret Service in a bad spot? Or would you continue this farce and tie yourself up for another 2 months when you're campaigning to run for president? What do you think? Until the next time, God bless, goodbye, and good luck.